Oh, hi. I'm Tim Kennelly. I've been working in projection technology for about 32 years. Film and digital cinema, 3D, theme park rides, movie festivals, visual effects, kind of everything across the whole spectrum. And I'm here to talk about projection technology or music or anything else you'd like to talk about.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for accepting this interview with us tonight or today, this afternoon. It's super hot. How are you today? Tell me, where were you? Where are you up to?
I'm at home in Culver City. By the way, you're lit much better than I am. I did no special lighting or background. I'm just in my living room. I could have done something fancy.
Yeah, get
Uh,
a roll.
but yeah, I strolled up the street to Phil's coffee shop and drank some coffee and worked on my latest piece of art, which I'll show you.
Yes, please. I wanted to have all the details.
Okay.
What are you working on right now?
Well, just as a hobby, I do some mandala coloring, and I spend, I don't know, a dozen or 2 dozen hours on it. And it's from a coloring book, but here's the one I just finished today.
Wow, look at that. That looks awesome.
And I scan these and digitally get transfers onto film, and then I print them onto t-shirts.
All right. Yes, the details that you have. There you go. You have everything right. All set up.
That's
Look
an
at that.
example.
Perfect. Very good. So that's what you've been up to.
Yeah, that's about all I did today. It's been a relaxing day.
All right. So I'm going to introduce you. I did my research about you. I did my assignment and I did a little bit of research about you. So let me know if I got it wrong, okay?
Okay.
So I did my investigation and it says that you run dailies at Paramount Studios to serve as a chief projectionist at Television Academy Wolf Theater. So those are things that I already know.
Yeah.
Tim has worked with formats ranging from cutting-edge digital to the fragile beauty of the 70 millimeter film, right?
Yeah.
There
Right.
spans collaboration with Pixar, Douglas Trumbull, and even private screenings for directors like David Lynch.
That's correct. Yeah.
He has projected on Sundance, Dubai International Film Festival, and was part of the 70 millimeter revival for The Hateful Eight and Oppenheimer.
That's correct.
Right. In short, uh, Tim Kennedy bridges the old world of the film with demands of today's industry. That's like in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well said.
Okay. All right, very cool. Thank you for accepting this interview with me. And my first question will be how work with both film and digital. How different is it for you to project 70 millimeter film compared to digital formats? I want to know the differences.
70 millimeter film is a physical medium, so you have to use a lot of care and handle it carefully, and or it can get damaged and scratched. And I have an example of some 70 millimeter film here.
Oh, that's awesome that you are prepared.
Yeah, I
Do
carry
you
this around
know?
to show people what it is.
That's awesome.
So it's all the same process in that it's light projecting from a light source through a medium, through a lens onto a screen seen by the eyeball. But with 70 millimeter film, you have to physically handle this and put this in the machine and do it correctly. You have to have a clean booth. You have to watch and listen for any strange sounds that might come from the projector, which might indicate some part is moving slower than the other. So it takes a lot of vigilance to project 70 millimeter and listen and watch for the whole 2 hours. Digital cinema, it's all about the setup so that you set it all up using the correct computer files and the color reference and the focus and the framing. You still have to have a good eye to know when it looks correct and a good ear because half of cinema is audio. Uh, so film projection is more labor. Digital cinema projection is kind of more knowledge. You have to understand everything that's happening in the invisible world. You can't see the film going through the projector. You have to understand and have the concept of what's happening and if something is wrong, how to fix it. So it takes a bit more knowledge and imagination to fix something in the digital world if something is wrong. Whereas with film projection, you can see with your own eyes what's going wrong. If it's a piece of the machine or fingerprints on the lens, or it's much more visible. So they're complementary skills, but different skills, but part of the same mindset of being good eye and good ear and being vigilant.
Right. That's what people probably doesn't know. Sometimes people is really I don't know how to use the term adamant. Is that the term? Or
Say it again.
people can realize all the effort that a projectionist has to put into like behind the scenes, behind everything else. People doesn't know all the suffering that you go through.
Yes, because when people watch media these days, it's so easy. It's a click of a mouse or pressing a button on your cell phone, and it all comes up hopefully correctly. But in a theater, particularly a really nice theater, some human being has to really make sure everything comes up perfectly. And there's a lot of work to do perfect shows at the highest level in the best theaters.
Right. Talking about that, you projected Oppenheimer about 100 times in 10 weeks.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
was that experience like?
Um, it's it was stressful at the start because the print itself is a 3 hour long piece of film, and if anything is wrong in your setup and the path through the projector and back to the platter, you could scratch the entire print, and the print cost about $30,000.
Wow.
So each time I threaded up that projector, every one of those 100 times, I said to myself, $30,000, and that made me pay extra careful attention. Um, and it was also in the Burbank AMC Theater, which is Christopher Nolan's neighborhood. And the people said Christopher Nolan may stop by anytime and see it and not announce it. So a little bit of pressure there. After we got it up and running and everything was stable and we could rely on the projector and the platter, it was pretty much hours of boredom, but boredom that you have to be ready to jump and fix a problem at any given second. So it could be 13 hours of boredom and 5 minutes of terror if something doesn't work and the film's about to run out and fall off the platter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's and you're completely in a dark room in a multiplex projection booth away from sunlight and away from other human beings. Nobody ever comes in the booth. So it was 10 weeks of being pretty lonely and being pretty nervous.
Oh,
But
wow.
every show was perfect. Each one of those shows was perfect.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. How was the last day? You were like, oh my God, finally the last day.
Yeah, I was ready to be done with it after 10 weeks of showing it. Um, and when I do those gigs, I always bring a lot of comfort to the booth. So I brought a comfortable chair and a microwave and books to read and art to do and work lights. So I was just focused on getting all of that out of there and into my car. It took another hour and a half.
Wow.
But very proud. I mean, that was a historic occasion to have such a huge release of 70 millimeter, and it made $1 billion. So
Yeah, we're
very, very
talking
proud to be
a
part.
lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, what an amazing experience. And let's talk about Paramount Studios. You handle dailies, marketing screenings, and FYC events. What is like a normal day like in your booth?
A normal day would be maybe showing a work in progress, like something that's not quite finished, but they want to view it with the rough sound mix. So it'll be maybe the editors and post-production people, and they'll watch it and they'll discuss what could be fixed and what could be better. Or it could be just dailies of a film being made, and it's a lot of someone holding out the clapper saying, "Take one,"
Hmm.
and the dog and Brad Pitt in the airline cockpit. And then I can hear this is an upcoming movie called Heart of the Beast, and it's Brad Pitt and his dog. And so I hear in the dialogue someone saying, good dog, stay there, good dog, stay, good dog, stay." And the dog just sits there very still. So in the finished movie, you won't hear the dog handler saying, good dog, stay there, good dog."
Oh,
But it's the raw captured footage of what they're shooting on the day before they edit it together and add the sound and the music and the special effects. So those are two pretty common things I do there.
very cool. That's very cool. That's things that you'll ever wonder in your life, right? Like, and it's so typical for you, like a normal day working. Oh, I have to deal with this dog and this person telling the dog, stay there, stay there.
And when things are in the daily form, they're so raw, you can't believe it's ever going to be a good finished film. And then we show the finished film when it's all perfectly put together and visual effects there. And it's really amazing the all the other people behind the scenes that work on movies that make it a beautiful finished thing.
Very cool, amazing experience.
Yeah.
How about the Television Academy's Wolf Theater? What makes that job unique compared to other studio screenings?
Well, it's in the springtime and summer, there's a lot of screenings of shows that want to be nominated for an Emmy. So there's a lot of FYC screenings, which are called for your consideration. And it would be something like the show Hacks, and they invite voting members of the Television Academy, and they fill the theater, and then I'll show on screen an episode of Hacks, maybe the finale of the season or the premiere of the season. And then afterwards on the stage, we'll have the writer and the director and the stars and the producer, and they have a big discussion about their show and how they came up with it and their working dynamic. So I get to hear a lot of discussions of all the talent talking about their show, and then a big fancy dinner reception afterwards. So I get to eat good food for free on those days.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything free.
Anything free is usually good. Not
Yeah.
always, but usually.
Okay, so we're switching like topics real fast because I have like a 45 spot like time slot and
Yeah,
I don't want to get caught
yeah.
because I don't want to pay the premium version. That's why.
Fire away.
You work with Douglas Trumbull, Pixar, and festivals like Sundance and Dubai. So which of those stands out most in your memory?
Oh, all of those were just real highlights. I mean, just to work on one of those things would have been a career highlight. Um, Working at Sundance Film Festival, I got to show world premieres of movies that kicked off the career of actors and directors. Uh, Hustle and Flow, that starred Terrence Howard. that was his breakout movie, and I showed the very first version of that to, 800 people in an audience. And as soon as that finished, a big negotiating war started to um, buy the movie, and kicked off the director's career, and Taraji Henson and Terrence Howard. And then a lot of really good small films that never really got bought and got seen by the world, but I saw them there once. So that felt pretty special.
Wow.
Um, yeah, working with Douglas Trumbull on ride films for theme parks. That was my first job in the industry. And it was projectors that ran double speed and VistaVision and ShowScan and every kind of crazy film format. um, I became an expert in my very first job.
Wow.
And they were on screens that surrounded the audience in all directions, and the seats moved. And really, it's what they call immersive cinema. So I worked on all of that in Massachusetts in a small town. And then they were opening it at the Luxor Pyramid in Las Vegas. And I convinced them to send me to Las Vegas to install all the finished projectors. So that was really cool. That was when I first moved west, and just spent, 24 hours a day in crazy, loud, noisy casinos of ancient Egypt or the Excalibur Middle Ages. Kind of, you leave reality
Having at
behind.
that time.
Getting
Horrible.
food. Speaking of free food and drink, we had
No, the
membership
inter
cards. Yeah, we could eat for food and drink for free in Las Vegas at those hotels.
that's amazing. Very good
Yeah,
experience. Very
yeah.
awesome. How about Pixar?
Oh, Pixar was fabulous. I really loved working there. I was a projectionist again for dailies, or um, works in progress, or guest filmmakers would come and present their movies there. Guillermo del Toro came and presented Pan's Labyrinth and then talked to the audience afterwards. But I worked on Ratatouille and Wally and Up, and I sat in the middle of the theater with a 50-foot wide screen, and the animators would watch every single shot of the movie, and I would stop it and go backwards and forwards and watch it carefully. So I heard the director, who was right in front of me, and all the animators discuss every single shot of all of those movies. And I was just 6 feet away from them. So that was really special to be in on that conversation of creativity.
That's a fantastic. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about my topic now.
Okay.
Music. So,
Yeah, I love music.
what was your favorite concert ever?
Oh God, there's been so many. Um,
The ones that come at first of your mind.
my first concert ever was Bruce Springsteen in 1980, when I was about 15 years old, and he played for 3 hours. I think it was 30 songs plus four encores, and just energy was, through the roof. And I was in maybe the last row of the Capitol Center. So they looked about that big, but I was just so thrilled to be there. The first big rock concert. Another one that stands out was seeing Tool at Coachella
Coachella.
in,
When was that?
yeah, 2003 or 2004, maybe. Um, that was incredible. All the visuals they had on the screens behind them matched the music so perfectly, and I was down by the stage, and they were really at the height of their power then.
Very cool.
Uh, Lollapalooza 93, walking in the gate and seeing Rage Against the Machine take the stage. That was unforgettable, their performance. Um, and then the other shows that day, Primus closed the show, and Tool played at that show as well. That was a fabulous day.
Wow.
Um, I would say Rush's final concert at the LA Forum a few years ago, their final concert of their final tour ever. And they played their songs in reverse time. So starting with all the new stuff, and then they went backwards. So the second half was like Permanent Waves and Moving Pictures and A Farewell to Kings, and they just kept going back to their first album, and just the joy that the fans had to see these master musicians playing their best stuff in the finale of their whole career. And then later that night, I went to the Mint, local little nightclub in LA, and saw Danny Carey's band. He's the drummer for Tool, and his band is called Volto. And they played like uh, prog rock instrumentals. And I think in 90 minutes, they played four songs. And one of them was No Quarter by Led Zeppelin. And I was, 6 feet from Danny Carey on the drum kit. And I think that was even the better show of the night. So that double feature of Rush's final concert and Danny Carey's band in a small club, maybe one of the best nights of music ever.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah,
Very
that's
awesome.
three of maybe 25 of the best concerts ever.
I actually forgot to ask you a question about your career. I
Mhm.
would like to know what is that place that you have like a dream, like what is your dream to project? Dream like I don't know, Las Vegas, or there's something else that you want to achieve.
Uh, wow, I've done so many cool things.
Yes.
I was talking with someone the last year about an international film fest, and they wanted to do projection mapping, which is when you take a building and you understand the geometry of it and you project images just on the shape of the building. Um, I don't know if that will ever happen, but it was really cool to think about projecting artwork on a really amazing piece of architecture in an exotic city. Uh, Maybe that's my dream thing that I haven't done yet. It's
Wow.
big outdoor projection on buildings of cool imagery that fits the architecture really well.
All right. I was thinking, how about like to work in the sphere on Las Vegas? How that works? You know how that works? Because I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly kind of the world that I started in with immersive projection. That's it's different. It's not projection. It's all built into the surface, so it's more of a display. But that's kind of the pinnacle of modern audiovisual technology right now. Um, it's such high resolution, and the field of vision is all around you. We're probably what 120 feet wide. Yeah, working on something for the sphere would really top everything I've done. I don't know if I could describe in technical detail how it works, but it's basically image processing that makes everything look seamless on something that's all just panels that are about that big, 24 inches by 24 inches, all stacked together. Uh, yeah, it blows my mind how well that works. Because if one little panel doesn't work, it's going to look ugly. So
Yeah,
every single one of
like
those
blended
million
or
panels,
something.
yeah, just the perfectionism of that experience.
And speaking about that, what was the hardest technical setup that you ever done in your career?
The hardest, what?
The hardest technical setup.
Uh, Probably it was for a Walt Disney Imagineering project for Tokyo Disneyland. It was a vehicle that had 200 seats, and it was like a giant flight simulator. So it would move and tilt and turn and go back. And it had a film projector on the front. mounted to it. So the film projector would tilt as the giant vehicle moved. So you're just waiting for it to all fall apart and fall off. And the film, this was, 70 millimeter film. So it was probably a 7 minute film, and the film had to travel from the projector on the front of the vehicle underneath the whole vehicle to a big cabinet system on the back of the vehicle. And it went through all of these rollers up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down to splice the head to the tail so that it could run in a loop. So this very complicated projector and very complicated loop cabinet with a million screws and bolts and pieces and rollers on this flight simulator that like shook like crazy. And every time we had to fix it or add something to it, we had to like get on a 15-foot ladder and stand up on the top of a 15-foot ladder and unbolt things and drop the wrench on the floor and have to go down and get it and get back up and drop the screw on the floor and go back down and get the
Wow,
screw. It
that's
was so
complicated.
much work. I don't know how long it lasted in Tokyo.
You don't know how long it lasted?
Yeah, I mean, we built it in San Bernardino in an aircraft hangar. It was a mock-up. It was like build it here in California before we ship it to Tokyo.
Oh, got
So
it.
we built it all and then they took it apart and shipped it to Tokyo. I didn't get to go to Tokyo to build it there, but I imagine it probably lasted about 6 months before everything fell off.
Wow, that's
I
even
don't,
a lot. 6 months.
I don't know. Maybe it lasted for years. It
Yeah.
was well engineered, but just a crazy idea to put all these moving parts on a giant flight simulator that shakes like you're flying into a hurricane, so you feel the hurricane.
Mm.
Uh, Exciting, but I don't ever want to do something like that again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's something that I will not expect to hear from. All right. The other question, I think I already did it. Your dream. Yeah, okay. Now tell me another different question. What is your connection with metal music, with heavy metal, and any experience that you have?
Oh, always loved it. I'm not really as deep into all the genres of metal as you are, but I like a lot of the old school stuff. I saw Ozzy Osbourne on his first tour with Diary of a Madman when I was 16, 17 years old. And I worked for a restaurant that was catering and bringing food to the bands that played at the Capitol Center. And me and my friend John took food into the Ozzy's dressing room, and we were hoping we would meet him. And we're looking all around, hoping we're taking our time, putting the food out on the table, looking all around.
Uh-huh.
Didn't see him anywhere. Just when we walked out the door, he came stumbling in, like barely standing, and we said, "Hey, Ozzy, what's happening?" And he kind of looked at us and said, "What's happening? What's happening?" And then 20 minutes later, he was on stage completely sober and rocking out. I'm thinking there were some chemicals that helped him out. But yeah, I like King Crimson. They're one of the old metal bands from the 70s and 80s. I wish I'd seen the tour where Tool and King Crimson played together. They only did a few dates, but that would have been a fabulous tour to see. Uh,
Fantastic.
uh, yeah, what other metal bands do I like? Um,
Any Iron Maiden by chance?
I don't own any Iron Maiden. System of a Down.
Okay.
I worked on a music video for them, actually. I
Oh,
did some, yeah, for the song Spiders.
spiders?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I brought a 35 millimeter film projector and projected it on the face of people. It's supposed to be like the old puppet masters or controlling life. So we projected images on the side of the face of some old people. And
Wow.
then they needed someone to do underwater camera for the opening of it when you're floating through kind of seaweed underwater. So I jumped in and I like moved the camera back and forth and up and down in this water tank. So that was my two contributions to the Spiders music video. Uh,
So cool. Very cool. Everything that you have to do, like, I don't know, you have to jump in the water. Okay, let's do it.
yeah, I wasn't in the water. Thank God. I was above the tank.
Above the tank. Okay. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
you
the
had to jump in the water.
no, I didn't jump in the water, but the camera was underwater, and so there was a track that went the length. It was like a, a train boxcar of a train, but filled with water and seaweed and kelp inside of it. So along the top edge of it was like a railing system,
Yeah.
and I would push the camera along the railing and make it go up and down. Um, but I didn't have to be in the water myself.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Very amazing. Uh,
Yeah.
other question that I will have, just have a couple more questions and we're done. What concert would you like to attend next?
Oh boy. Um, what concert I'd like to attend next? You mean like a band that's touring now or just dream?
Your dream band or whatever you want to.
Uh, you know, uh, I'd like to see Jane's Addiction get back together.
Jane's Addiction and fighting
Yeah.
each other again.
Yeah. I saw one of their final concerts at the Las Vegas Fontainebleau last summer. I think it was like five concerts later that they broke up.
Oh,
Gosh, I'd like to see Pearl Jam on their next tour. I've seen a lot of their concerts from like the 10th row. That's pretty amazing.
okay.
Um,
Her
I don't
jam.
know. I'd like to see Jimmy Page and Robert Plant tour again.
That will be fantastic. They're still alive, so yes, we deserve
Yeah,
that.
that's my dream concert. Yeah, never seen
Oh,
those guys live.
very cool. All right. I have my last question.
Yeah.
What book or movie would you recommend?
Okay, I got a really good recommendation.
Yes, love it.
And I just was holding this today. It's called The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. Um, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. Rick Rubin is the famous music producer who did, the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and 100,000 famous acts since. He's one of the best known music producers ever. And he's also kind of a Zen Buddhist. And he's not a musician himself, but he's really great at creating an environment and a mindset for artists to be creative. And this book is all about not musical things, but ways of thinking and ways of being open, ways of taking an idea and letting it grow and nurturing one idea and seeing if it blossoms and organizing your ideas and just kind of creating a life and a lifestyle that lets your creativity blossom. And as he says, the end result should be something that amazes you and you can't believe it came out of you.
Wow.
So full of good quotes for musicians and creators. That's one of the best books I can think of.
Very good. Thank you for such an amazing recommendation. I was about to ask you one more question. What would it be? Uh, if you had the chance to see an artist that already passed away, who will be and why?
It would have to be The Doors. I'm
Oh,
a huge Doors fan. Uh, yeah, the chance to see them at their height. If I could invent a time machine and go back in time, I would catch The Doors.
all right.
Followed closely by, Led Zeppelin with John Bonham live.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I think what
How
artist?
about you? What's your time machine
My time
concert?
machine artist that I would like bring to life one more time and just to talk to him and to get to know more about his life because I heard everything about him, but I was never be able to talk to him or something. Is Arsaed Euronymous, the guy from Mayhem
Okay.
who was killed by Barbie Kernes. So I would like to talk to him and
Wow.
yeah, because he was the guy who invented the riffs and the black metal. So,
Wow.
yeah, I would like to talk to him and to ask him like, hey, what really happened? Because we have only Barbie Kernes version, but we don't have your version. So
Of how he died or how.
how was it? Because Bart said that it was because Euronymous wanted to kill him.
Wow.
He was obviously in defense, defense. Sorry,
Self-defense. Wow.
self-defense. There you go, Joe. That's it pretty much.
I'm gonna add Chris Cornell from Soundgarden to my
Chris
list.
Cornell, yes, 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 yes. And what happened? Why you took that decision, right? Kurt
Yeah,
Cobain.
I mean,
Well,
it's someone who left us way too early, and what an incredible talent he was. Uh, yeah, I remember shortly after he died, I was driving across New Mexico in all this empty desert, and there was like a storm on the horizon, and you could see all the lightning just like flashing across the sky. And I thought, I need to listen to Super Unknown by Soundgarden. So I cranked as loud as I could, and then I thought, this is me seeing Chris Cornell's spirit go up to Valhalla. This lightning storm across the desert.
lovely, very lovely. Awesome.
And
Hey, this was really cool to do. Thank you so much, T-Bone, for joining my craziness.
absolutely, my pleasure.
I might probably be doing this with more friends because I think it's really interesting to have something to talk about, and mostly what I'm passionate about, which is music, and obviously, your job is really interesting. So it's really good to hear amazing stuff and learn from you.
It makes me realize that I have done some cool things in my career.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Thank you so much. You're a really interesting person.